from what I've seen so far, it does a pretty good job against it. So let's jump into the action here. Wow, Magda really wants to hang out.
Yeah, no kidding. With this testing team, it seems like, Magda was definitely the card they wanted, but they didn't want that many of them. And wow, just an equally awful hand up there. Blade Historian is just about as close as it gets to unplayable or uncastable in these decks, because you really do need green mana early, so it tends to be pretty tricky. But this is a great hand here. Being able to go Cobra. Oh, that's a mold of 5. Oh, no.
Owie. That hurts. Oh, that hurts so much.
Yeah, especially with the Stomp in hand to be able to deal with that Cobra. This is going to be really interesting, but looks like we picked up a Jaspera Sentinel.
Yeah, Jaspera Sentinel. I mean, what do you want to get stomped more, a Sentinel or a Snake?
Yeah, I think the Lotus Cobra is a little bit more important. But the thing is, if you do let Jaspera Sentinel live, then next turn when you go Cobra, you get 1 mana as well. So if we top deck Jaspera Sentinel or something, or Selfless Savior or something, you get to play it. But yeah, as it stands, shutting down Lotus Cobra with this hand could really do some number. But instead, Matti decides to kill this.
I mean, I like it. We've seen Jaspera Sentinel go a little bit crazy, so try and keep that mana generation at bay. As Edgewhite Innkeeper gets in for 1 point of damage, the Stomp is fired off on the Sentinel, and here comes the Snake.
Yeah, called it on the Selfless Savior there. Could have played that if Jaspera Sentinel was in play. So, a nice little heads-up play there from Matti.
Did you just give yourself a high five?
I sure did. Yep.
I feel like you just self-high-fived. Okay.
It's a pat on the back, actually, but yeah.
Okay. All right, sure. So Blightstep Pathway, there is the option to play the Seer Step side of things and Shadowskull smashing away this little Cobra, because with a land, Winota could come down.
Yeah, and that is a really tough play. Or a tough decision here, because Shadowskull smashing deals with the worst problem that you could have next turn, and that's land into Winota, or the second worst, which would be land into Asika's Chariot. So really risking it here that is not the play, and we'll see if it pays off for Matti.
Oh, is there a land? There is a land, and he gets it. Oh, what do you go for here, Winota or Kitty Cats?
God, it's tough. I think you go for the Cadillac, just because if you whiff on that activation of Winota and just throw Lotus Cobra into Bone Crusher Giant, that's far too loss of tempo and just a non-human to be able to attack with a Winota trigger.
So if Matti doesn't deal with the Cobra this turn, I mean, he's got a lot to deal with at this point, but if there's another land on the top, he can go land Selfless Savior into Winota and protect that very important creature.
Yeah, and at this point now, Cobra is kind of off the table. So now, we might be looking back on this a little bit and kicking ourselves if you're Matti, where that play wouldn't have been possible last turn if we did kill Cobra, and now Shatterskull Smashing will have to wait a while. So if there's a land on top, Winota is just going to go nuts.
Oh, tense moments here for Matti Kuisma. And Bone Crusher Giant is going to get swinging here and try and take care of some of these creatures. And Keisuke Sato is just going to take it down to 4. Here comes Shadowskull smashing the land side of things, plus his own Asika's Chariot.
Huge draw step here. If it's a land, you got to think, oh, no. That is not the draw you wanted.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Selfless Savior can jump down here and protect one of these vitally important creatures.
Yeah, we still have a nice play here from Sato, and that is Azika's Chariot getting in there, copying a cat, and has the advantage of not really being able to be killed in combat, or just play defensive and try to win the game like that and hope there's not a ton of removal on the other side, which we know there isn't.
Yeah, no removal currently, but a really nice draw here with Magda Brazen Outlaw being able to be crewed by the Chariot and start creating those treasure tokens.
Yeah, and Matti here really doesn't have a choice. We don't have the choice to just kind of sit back. You have to get this game over with before you draw land number 4. Matti probably knows it's a possibility that one of these cards is either a 4-drop or Kenrith or something like that. Nothing else would really make sense that we didn't play.
I like getting aggressive here from Matti. He's going to swing in here with the Chariot and the Bone Crusher Giant.
Now, there's kind of a cute little play if Sato wants to take it, and that's crew Azika's Chariot, block Chariot to Chariot, and then Selfless Savior to Bone Crusher, sacrifice the Savior, and keep Chariot alive.
So Sato's got to be doing Embercleave math at this point, right?
Yeah, Embercleave.
No, he doesn't have mana for it.
Yep, no, that's true.
Just one short.
So at this point, probably just trying to map out, can I keep all my resources available to me and just take another hit for 8 and just pray Winota's there and hope that it wins the game? But if we get a land and Winota doesn't end the game, now maybe the crackback is just lethal no matter what.
Oh, we're going to see. As soon as we get to the draw step, there's the Lair of the Hydra down, as well as an additional Jaspera Sentinel. Can Sato find it? Edgewell Innkeeper. Number 2 is going to hit the board.
All right, the biggest draw step of Sato's Magic career about to come up next turn.
Is it a land? Oh, no. Winota, why? Why, Nota, why? Oh, no. That is disaster for Keisuke Sato. Not finding land number 4. Oh, and Matti Kuisma is so lucky.
Yeah. Matti's 25 ways to say good luck to himself paid off there. That is for sure.
He's got all the luck. Oh, man. Let's take a look at the sideboarding decisions here. For Rimrock Knight, always coming out. Magda taking out a copy of that. 2 of the Goldspan Dragons out. Bringing in those rare enfeeblements we've seen in the sideboard from this team. Redcap melees to deal with Winota. A Crone War as well. Look at Sato's side of things. Just a big old shift to Rudy there.
Absolutely. And that was the game that Sato really, really wanted to win, because that is the game before these Ray of Enfeeblements come in. And I really want to highlight that card. That is going to be the most important card up against these Naya Winota decks. Being able to kill Winota through Selfless Savior is really all you're asking for here. And that's one of the very rare cards in the metagame that does it, let alone costing 1 mana.
Yeah, it's such a cheap way to deal with that powerful threat. You know, you can basically tap out for whatever nonsense you have going on your side, tap a Winota, get that treasure or a dragon or something like that, and you always have it available somehow. It's just this deck is so good at just providing extra ways to cast these super cheap interactive spells.
Exactly. And Ray of Enfeeblement, you know, killing Winota is the main thing, but also takes down Cobra, you know, and having that versatile removal spell. You know, Redcap Melee essentially does the same thing as well, but it comes at a cost of a land, so you can't really cast it on the Cobra.
Yeah, Redcap Melee, you know, you kind of just reserve it, keep it in the holster for a Winota or a Minsk or something like that.
Yeah,
both players agonizing over their opening hands here. Yeah,
Sato looks like has mulliganed once and is probably going to keep this. Send back to Kenrith. Kenrith is a lot better in your main deck. You really don't want to go to 4 to 5 with this hand. It's on the edge, so maybe Sato would decide to do that. But Matti's hand is extremely rough. It is so reactive. You're not able to really do anything. And it's just, is that good enough right here? And I'm kind of thinking no on the draw, but this is a close one.
Yeah, there's no green here.
Yeah, there's no green. Embercleave is basically unplayable in this hand. The Crone Wars are okay, but you need another land, and Matti's got to make a decision.
He's going to risk it for the biscuit, keeps the very reactive hand, so it's going to play the I'll kill your things and steal them and see where we go from there. Hopefully the draws play nice as Jaspera Sentinel comes down here for Sato. There's the green, so a very nice find off the top of the library.
Not a bad draw at all. Would make a lot of sense to lead with that one just in case you top deck Den and you really want to play that. And Sato decides to keep Kenrith, recognizing that just in case you don't draw Winota with this hand, you want to be able to have some big threat. And that is a threat that isn't super easily dealt with as we look at 2 of Crone Wars in Matti's hand.
Yeah, Kenrith is kind of in that awkward spot where you need to use 2 removal spells to get him off the board entirely or hope that you draw your Crone Wars. So leading things off here with a Blightstep Pathway just in case something needs to be enfeebled.
Probably one of the first times that a black source is the first land played from these Gruul decks. Oh, no, another Embercleave is not what you wanted.
Come now, game, behave. Oh, here comes Minsk and little Boo. Go for the eyes, Boo. That's a good Ray of Enfeeblement target, but not yet.
Yeah.
It's also the Mythos of Vadrock from oh no, wait, that's in Sato's deck.
Yeah. Mythos just being top deck there by Sato, and not going to be great for a while since, well, Matti does not have a creature in sight unless Matti takes it from your opponent. And here's the rough thing is now the big choice is, do you cast Ray? What if Sato's hand is land Winota? You lose the game if you make that play. So I don't think you really can. I think that's a smart no play. And here it's interesting to play red mana over the other layer to represent a removal spell, I guess. But you can go something like turn 4, a Crow and War, turn 5, tap land, a Crow and War as well.
She's here.
Wow.
She's going to get dead, but she is here.
Yeah, there's really no other play this turn, so we'll see if Sato just wants to play this a little coy.
Yeah, just hang on to it until the 4th land shows up, so you get 2 triggers off the Jaspera Sentinel. But, you know, seeing that mana open, knowing that there's a red cap melee as well as Raven Enfeeblement, you got to think that Matti is just waiting for that play.
Yeah, and we'll see if something like this comes up too, where you steal a very key creature with a Crow and War, and then the modes you don't really see on Rip Apart too often. The 1 white, 1 red sorcery that we see in Sato's hand can just take out a Crow and War to be able to take a creature back right away. Could come up a little later. Takes out Boo.
Poor Boo.
Poor itty bitty little Boo.
Oh, steal the Sentinel. You know you want to. Oh, I'm going to go for Minsk. Okay.
That could be a Punisher here if we get an untapped land.
Oh,
he found it. Winota trigger.
He found it. We're going to get a trigger, and it's going to be a free attack here, too, with the Sentinel. So let's see what Winota finds.
This is a huge hit.
Oh, nice. Blade Historian. But he's just going to steal that and swing in with it. It's going to be great.
I mean, look at this play that could happen right now. A Crow and War take Winota to kind of protect you from that, or Blade Historian. This Rip Apart really might come into play, and I think it will.
Oh, yeah. Here's the second of Crow and War going to steal the Winota. And I don't think we'll see an attack here, as both these creatures belong to Keisuke Sato. So,
yeah, if we Rip Apart here and hit a big creature like Kenrith, even Elite Spellbinder, the game is just over. So it seems pretty tempting to just rip apart the Crow and War that just took Winota.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, and that looks like it's going to be the plan here. Rip apart. Destroy target enchantment or artifact. Get out of here. A Crow and War. And that'll get Winota back.
Oh.
So there is a trigger.
And
what do we find off Winota? Oh, what a whiff.
Oh, that was so huge.
Blade Historian is going to be deaded, as is Minsk. So 2 very powerful creatures dealt with. Jaspera Sentinel won't die because it's got a big old booty. But Winota is still on the other side of the battlefield.
Yeah, the one bright side going for Sato is Matti's hand is still really bad.
Yeah, this is looking not great at all here for Matti Kuisma, as he's going for Esika's Chariot. It's going... Mythos of Vadrock is a perfect answer for these kitty cats. But we can see a crew in response just to get in the way of one of these attackers.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We could go Mythos here to deal with the cats, get a crew, attack, and then if we hit Elite Spellbinder or anything better than that, the game ends. But the game only ends on the one consideration that Matti has absolutely nothing, which we don't know for sure.
Nice. All right. Winota would possibly have died there to an Esika's Chariot, but there is a giant killer in hand, so that could be chopped down. So we're just going to see the cats jump in the way here, killing off the Jaspera Sentinel and chump blocking Winota.
And that's all of the non-humans being able to attack. We have Cobra, and then a land would allow the Den to be able to get in there. So right now, Matti needs a big draw, and that's not it.
So it looks like we're going to tie things up here between these 2 players. This is the final qualification match for a World Championship spot. Elite Spellbinder drawn at the top here for Sato.
Would you have it any other way than to force a game 3 in one of the biggest matches, really, of all time?
Oh my goodness. There's a cheeky little interaction here where you can play a defensive cleave on one of these creatures in response to this Mythos of Vadrock, crew the cat car, and not die this turn. It's not great. It's not pretty, but it'll keep him alive.
Yeah, the problem is the Mythos,
even,
depending on what Sato chooses, Sato could just go 3 to the cat, 2 to the innkeeper, and kind of negate that play.
True. Yep. So never mind that. It looks like we're going to go towards the land here instead.
And it looks like if we get any hit, again, so far, all these Winota hits have been terrible. Let's see if one of these can actually connect.
No,
another whiff.
Whiff Nota, more like it, am I right? That's just awful.
You're going to be the next one fired after these bad jokes, right?
Okay.
First it was
we'll go out together, Corey.
There
it
we
was
go.
fun while it lasted.
Yes. And had an interesting line if we had another green source where Matti could have crewed one of these layers for 1, threw all of those 3 creatures into the chariot, and then crewed up another layer for a blocker. But with having all these red and black sources instead of green, that play was taken off the table.
Okay, Shadow Skull Smashing can take care of the Cobra.
Yeah, and then at this point, we're just, if you top deck a land, Den gets to get in there for lethal. It looks like you can play layer to block. The 1/1 will put you to 1. Yeah, Sato has just hit incredibly badly off these Winotas and still in a good position relatively since Matti just didn't have any pressure.
King Kenrith again, just going to deploy that Elite Spellbinder, take a look in hand, and send away one of these Embercleaves.
Oops.
Yeah, they oops there. At least Matti still has a sense of humor.
Big draw step for Matti.
Let's see. Ooh, it's a land. It's going to fire off the GG, tying things up here in the final qualification match. Keisuke Sato winning that one. Pretty awful hand there for Matti. And on the other side of things, Sato didn't have a much easier time of it, but did manage to get the victory there. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll have the decider between these two players. Welcome back to the Challenger Gauntlet. It is the final game of the weekend. Keisuke Sato versus Matti Kuisma for that final spot in the World Championship. So this is the game for all the marbles, Corey.
Yeah, you can buy a lot of marbles with $50,000. That's for sure. So this is a ton of marbles on the line.
I don't sell marbles anymore. I digress. Anyway, let's take a look at these opening hands here. 2 red cap melees, a stomp, a ranger class in hand there for Keisuke. So not the worst. On the other side of things, a pretty nice hand here too, with Magda, Brazen Outlaw, and the Bone Crusher Giant. So turn 1s, 2, 3, and 4 sorted for Matti as he gets things underway.
Yeah, the roles are kind of reversed on these 2 hands. Sato is really trying to be the control player with all this removal, where Matti just has a bunch of aggressive elements here. But this hand does look a lot better for Matti.
Sure does, as he gets 1 point of damage in there with the Heart's Desire token. Now, an interesting choice here with the Jaspera Sentinel drawn. Can get Magda down and swing in if he wants to, but it would most likely get squished, or in this case, Redcap melee'd to death.
Yeah, a little brutal of a decision there, being the one thing that would die to red cap melee, but it is definitely the more mana efficient play, so it makes a lot of sense.
Things going pretty well here for Matti. Won't be
There's
attacking
Winota.
into that Susu, though. Oh, hey, Winota, what's up? Are we having land issues again? I don't know. There we go. Okay, we got the third land. That's fine.
So it looks like just
Ooh.
oh wow.
Oh, hey, Valky. Valky, you should take a look in that hand there. It's quite juicy.
Valky can take a peek, but of course we have this stomp to be able to deal with it before the trigger can actually resolve. Red cap melee is not really going to have a great target here, but that stomp is still going to look really, really good. And I believe that is just a one of, maybe two of post board. Yeah, just a one of.
It's a big decision point here now for Matti, how he wants to play this next turn out. Looks like he's just going to go to combat first. And this will force the stomp here on the 1/1, shutting off the attack from the Lovestruck Beast. Okay, so now perhaps Valky is good to take a look-see.
Yeah, that definitely opened the door a bit here, and it seems pretty tempting to me.
Yeah.
Especially just trying to activate it for 4 mana. You have a lot of non-humans. You have some humans you can hit off a Winota trigger.
Yeah, you can hit Edgewell Innkeeper. Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Kind of awkward thing, though, is if you turn it in, now we know about red cap melee, so if you do turn it into Winota, well, it's a red creature, and then you can just red cap melee it. So not exactly the interaction that we would be expecting to see all the time, but absolutely a possibility.
Well, a very nice draw there for Rip Apart, but unfortunately no land for Sato yet. No planes to deal with this here Valky.
Yeah, and once again, Sato really looking for that land number 4. But to be fair, that is pretty much this Winota deck in a nutshell. So you are always looking for land number 4. If you hit it and you have one of your powerful 4-drops, you're very, very far ahead.
Here comes Bonecrusher Giant. A lovely board assembled here from Matti Kuisma. Just the Ranger class and the Bonecrusher Giant for Keisuke Sato as he's desperately looking for land number 4. If he can find a plains off the top, he's going to be in a pretty good position here. We'll be able to take care of Valky. Unless Valky decides to transform into Winota. Highly unlikely. We'll also get the cat car online.
Yeah, without a land off the top, like what does Sato's turn really look like? Level up, say go, not cast red cap melee, or maybe cast it on Bonecrusher Giant? That doesn't look great. And Matti has Embercleave lined up on one of these big creatures, and it's a plains.
Plains off the top of the library. Now this unlocks Keisuke's hand. So let's see what he goes for first and foremost. It's going to be the cat car. Asuka's chariot down on the battlefield along with 2 cute itty-bitty kitties.
That really could have been a $50,000 top deck right there, because that is a huge difference in doing basically nothing that turn or having really the world at your fingertips.
Good draw here from Matti too, lining up nicely with the potential plays from Keisuke Sato.
Yeah, Ray doing a little bit of work here protecting, and it looks like, are we just trying to play that as a land, take a little bit of extra damage, or you can do it for 3 here? That's not very exciting since you can only kill Bonecrusher Giant with it. And not being able to attack with Lovestruck Beast here has been quite the problem from the beginning. That's really was kind of Matti's hand from the beginning, is you needed to be able to connect with that and put Sato under a lot of pressure. And so far, it hasn't really happened.
It looks like you're going to hang on to the Shadow Skull Smashing for the time being. In comes the Bonecrusher Giants. Will Sato take the trade? Says no thank you. Down to 15 he goes.
Wow.
And looks like he's just going to end the turn there.
Yeah, interesting to not want to Embercleave there. Okay, so the option is available to just red cap melee and then try to play Winota. We know there's a Ray there, so that won't work out very well, but this Kenrith is going to be quite difficult to kill.
Oh, yeah. Ray of Enfeeblement doesn't do too much against him.
Oh, Well, I guess maybe we didn't want to do that, but Matti could have turned that Velky into a Winota. We know about the red cap melee, but with 5 lands anyways, you're usually pretty okay to sacrifice a land anyway. So you'd think maybe you want to upgrade your creatures to be able to get in a bigger attack this turn. Especially when you didn't use your mana for anything else.
Yeah. I guess he really doesn't want that red cap melee being free.
Yeah, I suppose. We get so many triggers of Winota, though.
Gotta find a whole bunch of innkeepers. I think those are the only humans in the deck, honestly.
I think Magda might be a human, but I'm not even...
No, Magda's a dwarf. Come on.
Of course, I should know that, yeah.
Tisk. All right, Bone Crusher Giant in one more time with feeling. Let's see if Kenrith wants to jump in the way here. This just smells. This is so suspicious.
Yeah, it really is. And really interesting to me to not see Embercleave last turn on this creature to really present a clock.
Maybe Matti just playing it a little bit too safe.
Maybe a little. Because you still would have had mana left over for the Ray if you play that Shatterskull Smashing as a land.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
so can't keep the Bone Crusher alive if the Chariot blocks, but he's just going to take 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's the thing. If that Kenrith would have got in front of Bone Crusher Giant and you go to Embercleave it, then all of a sudden you don't have Ray available and you could just red cap melee the Velky and then play Winota and trigger that all that many times. So, you know, a bit of an interesting attack there as well.
I'm pretty sure Velky's going to die next turn, one way or another. So I think keeping up this raid, just in case of that eventuality.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. That's why I would have played the other side of Shatterskull Smashing. That way you could Embercleave with everything but the Despair Sentinel, and then you could Ray with that mana.
Yeah. Seems like Matti wants to use the Shatterskull Smashing to clear this board out, but I think he's running out of time to do that.
Or wants to use Embercleave to just win the game, trying to send off that signal that, hey, I don't have it. So make your blocks like I don't have Embercleave, and maybe it'll just win the game. But you got to think maybe it just would have won the game already.
Deep in the tank here is Matti Kuisma. Both players at 1 game apiece. This is the decider. Who is going to make it to the World Championship and which side of Shatterskull Smashing is going to be played?
Yeah, huge tense moments here from both players. These decisions will really decide this match here in the next couple of turns, and the clock is ticking on Matti. Or on Matti, excuse me.
They're going to go for the land side of things. There's a land for Keisuke Sato. And we can see Winota this turn. Will he go for that?
And you can't really rip apart Velky because you can just turn it into a Winota in response, and then red cap melee, you wouldn't have enough for Winota. So if we want to deal with it, you probably just have to bite the bullet and red cap melee and just sacrifice a land towards that Velky.
Yeah, going for Ranger Class upgrade instead.
Looking to be a little more conservative, just saying, hey, Sato is recognizing that he's just ahead on the battlefield. Kenrith on the battlefield is just so tricky, especially when you can give everything trample.
Terrifying indeed. And it looks like we're going to see Embercleave on the end step here. Where's it going to go, though? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. On which creatures shall I go? Double strike and trample give. Hope to make opponent dead so I can live. That was my ode to Embercleave.
That was an impressive riddle.
Thank you. Oh, hey, another Shatterskull Smashing.
We don't have that X equals 6 right now being the very important number. And now we see red cap melee.
Whee! Die, little Bone Crusher Giant. Little, I say, but it's quite large. It is dead now, though, and luckily no land lost there for Keisuke, having targeted a red creature.
I wonder if we just want to play Jaspera Sentinel, hold up Ray, and equip Embercleave to Lovestruck Beast and hope that you can get a 1/1 here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you need to use your mana. I guess really putting a high equity on leaving up 4 mana to just in case make Velky into Winota. And I honestly, this is the turn that he has decided to tap out. Ooh, and the black mana is tapped as well. And this is the turn where Rip Apart can actually do that to Velky.
Using all his mana, Kenrith's going to gain 5 life here for Sato. Another cat card drawn off the top of the library, Keisuke's Chariot. The Rip Apart is available either to kill Velky, get Winota, or take care of that Embercleave.
Yeah, and at this point, you're almost a little more incentivized to just deal with that Embercleave and start getting in there. So this is a pretty nice play. If you rip apart the Embercleave, attack with a Zika's Chariot, put a counter on it with the Rangers class, and then you actually have Kenrith's ability to put a counter on it as well to make it a 6/6. And then even if it were to get triple blocked, quadruple drop blocked, what have you, you just play the other Azika's Chariot, and now all of a sudden, Matti doesn't have an Embercleave, doesn't have as big of a battlefield. Sato is going way wider as well, and it just seems like Sato is winning in every department at that point.
Yeah, it looks like exactly. I mean, these creatures are just so powerful, and Kenrith is one of the best things that you can find with Winota, and here he is. He's just hanging out. He's like, yeah, this is cool. Let's go. And I think we're going to see exactly that, Corey. So great call there. Here comes Keisuke's Chariot. Going to make a copy of these kitty cats. Kenrith can put a counter on it. So can Ranger's Class. The only real out here currently is to use Ray of Enfeeblement to make the cat car smaller. I don't know. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, it doesn't seem great. It seems like you still want to wait for Ray to be able to deal with Winota. But here's the really tricky part about that is we're getting to have so much mana that Sato at some point can just line up a turn where he plays Winota, has a green mana and another mana open, and now all of a sudden Ray does nothing as well. So really the ball is in Sato's court here to finish this.
Keisuke's Chariot as a 5/5. Looks like we're going to go for this Ray of Enfeeblement to protect this Lovestruck Beast.
Yeah, and I don't mind that now because I think Matti is recognizing as well that, if Velky were to die, I no longer can kill it with Kenrith being on the side of the battlefield. What Matti really needs here isn't a Crowan War, and he needs it fast.
Yeah. Needs to deal with Kenrith. Here comes Keisuke's Chariot number 2. So Keisuke is hellbent, no cards in hand. And this battlefield is getting wide.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 currently for Shadowskull Smashing, so needs 1 more land to deal with the biggest threats.
And now we're just going to see Sato just nickel and diming Matti with just either an Azika's Chariot and pumping it, or how about that?
Oh my goodness, Winota off the top of the library. This has got to be it. No answer here from Matti Kuisma. And 6, 7 triggers to go on the stack here.
And here's the thing, with that Ray, that 2 mana is left open anyway, so it doesn't matter. Even if Matti had it, Kenrith was able to pump it, and here come the troops.
Let's go. In for the win. Kenrith can give the entire team trample. Let's see if we can find some double striking action, maybe a couple of elite spellbinders. I don't know, just everything. Let's go.
What a perfect draw right there.
Perfect indeed.
Let's see. It's so hard to whiff this many times.
There's a Winota. Sweet. Let's get that one swinging in. Why not?
Bang. Indestructible Winota.
Whiff. Kenrith. Lovely.
Indestructible Kenrith.
Here it comes.
Matti cannot believe it. There's the Blade
Striker. There you go. That is going to be it. Here comes Elite Spellbinder 2. Sees the Shadowskull Smashing in hand. We'll get rid of that. Red mana still available. Here comes Minsk and Boo. And a final whiff, but more importantly, Kenrith is going to give everything trample and haste. That is double striking trample damage flying at Matti Kuisma's hand. There's the good game. Keisuke Sato is going to the World Championship. Unbelievable.
What a masterfully played game.
Oh my goodness me. Absolutely phenomenal stuff there from Keisuke. Congratulations. You, sir, are in the World Championship.
Wow.
Woo! What a draw. Absolutely phenomenal stuff there, Corey.